Hello, people. A lot see them as just a food company with a bunny as a mascot, but some see them as criminals with inhumane practices. Let's look deeper into the history and see what we can find out. When you think of Nestle, you're probably one of two people. You're either the kind who thinks solely about their food products and nothing else about them, or you're the kind who knows a lot about their practices and strongly disagrees with them and are very vocal about that. Or you might not be vocal, I don't really know. But we'll get to that in a bit. The first thing we actually need to do is look at the company and where they came from. The very beginnings of Nestle date all the way back to Switzerland in the 1860s, where two companies were started that would, in the end, result in the Nestle company which we know today. The first of these companies was the Anglo-Swiss Condensed Milk Company, founded by brothers Charles and George Page in Switzerland in 1866, where they would produce condensed milk. Shocker, I know. In the following year, that would be 1867, in case you forgot, Henry Nestle started a company bearing his name and developed a milk-based baby food in an attempt to help combat the high infant mortality rates of the time. By the time 1875 had rolled around, Mr. Nestle was in his 60s and decided to say adios and retire. So he sold his company to three Swiss businessmen. These businessmen would hire chemists to improve upon the product and increase production. 2 years later, in 1877, Anglo-Swiss decided to produce and sell their own milk-based baby food to compete with Nestle, and the following year, Nestle added condensed milk to their lineup, entering the two companies into a feud against each other that would last for years to come. Another 2 years later, this company apparently really enjoyed doing stuff in twos. Nestle merged with Mr. Daniel Parker, the inventor of milk chocolate, and would continue to develop the industry of chocolate in Switzerland, and eventually they began producing chocolate in the United States. In 1905, Anglo-Swiss and Nestle merged to become one global chocolate superpower. And into the early 1900s, Nestle had factories around the world in the US, UK, Germany, and Spain. During World War I, there was a massive demand for dairy products through government contracts. This resulted in Nestle more than doubling their production by the time the war had ended. Between World War I and World War II, not much really happened with Nestle, besides chocolate manufacturing becoming their second most important activity. During World War II, Nestle heavily felt the effects of war, with their profits being more than cut in half, from $20 million down to $6 million. However, they were able to accomplish two things during the war which did help the company. The first of which was that Nestle was able to establish factories in South America. The second of which was that it helped them launch Nescafé, which was the new coffee product, which was quickly taken by the U.S. Army as their staple drink. However, Nestle also supplied the Germans with a contract to feed their army. By the end of World War II, business was up and booming again for Nestle. This enabled them to buy other businesses, including, but not limited to, Coffee Mate and Roundtree Macintosh, which brought Kit Kat and Smarties to the Nestle family, bringing in boatloads of money for the company. In more recent times, Nestle has been on kind of a health kick, buying loads of health and wellness companies and trimming down on sugar in their products, hoping to get more sales from more health-conscious people. Through the years, Nestle has been involved in many controversies, including stuff from child labor to food safety to water. Let's take a look at these now. There have been reports about the use of slavery and child labor when farming and producing cocoa for chocolate on farms throughout Africa. Now, the number of children and slaves working on cocoa has decreased, but there are still some. One estimate found that there are still 1.56 million children working on cocoa farms, which is a very sad reality and one that no child should ever have to go through. Now, moving on towards their food safety concerns, there was an outbreak of E. coli one time that originated from Virginia as a result of some of their cookie dough. That problem has since been resolved. And it was discovered in India that Nestle's Maggi noodles contained more than 17 times the safe amount of lead. That problem has also been resolved. Finally, Nestle spearheaded a movement with other companies to convince the World Water Council to modify a statement they had put out, saying that water was a right, to say instead that water is a need. To this day, they continue to bottle water solely for profit. From their humble Swiss beginnings to the global domination of their industry, Nestle's story is a roller coaster of highs, lows, and a dash of controversy. But for now, that's the history, and as always, thanks for watching.